All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Adirondack Mountains. We are day 3 here, Song of the Day up here, not in the rock cave. And as I said yesterday, we are sticking to the 1950s and 1960s. I love this music, and we do not play enough of it here in the rock cave. It takes a little bit more work to go with the research involved with what was out at this particular day or time, and so sometimes we'll just post songs that we like from this era. But I've loved the 1950s music ever since I saw the movie American Graffiti, and we talked about that very early in season 1 of Song of the Day, how much that soundtrack affected me. And my father listened to this music, but really this soundtrack has it all. And if you haven't listened to the American Graffiti soundtrack, you need to do that today. It's a double record. And if you haven't seen the movie, you got to do that too. But at the very least, listen to the soundtrack to American Graffiti. And that was jam-packed with every single song is a hit that you will remember and love. But what are we talking about today? We are going back to, well, in August 1957, this person was getting ready to release the record that we're talking about, which would come out in September of 1957. We are talking about Thurston Harris and his version of Little Bitty Pretty One. It's not his song. It was written and recorded by Bobby Day, but made famous by Thurston Harris. Produced on Aladdin Records out of LA, and this thing went to number 6 on the Billboard Top 100. What a great song this is. I don't know when I was introduced to it. I suspect it might have been from the movie Christine. If you remember Christine, that had awesome 1950s music in it as well. The car would only play 1950s music, and I picked up a lot of good ones from there as well. The background vocals, see, the thing about the 1950s is there was a lot of stuff going on in the background as far as who was on the record and who, even a lot of scandal as far as who got credit for certain songs or whatever. But the background vocals on this are the Sharps, also known later as the Rivingtons. Thurston Harris's band was the Lamplighters. They were his backing band on this record. It was a solo record by him, but his band was backing him, just not called the Lamplighters. And they went on to become known as the Tenderfoots and then the Sharps. So, like, it's just really bizarre that this whole thing is just really just mingled with all these same players as far as that's concerned. The Rivingtons would later, in 1962, come out with their own great hit, not with Thurston Harris, and that's Papa Mau Mau. If you remember that song, that one is also excellent. But this record came out. This 45 came out. I guess it was kind of interesting or unusual. The 45 had like 3 or 4 different colors on the label, purple, green, whatever it was, and that was unusual. I don't know why. I don't know the story about it, but that was one thing that I read about what was different about that. So this is just an awesome song. The other thing we remember is that sometimes people covered songs like the same year that they were released. And when you're reading about 1950s music and hits, a lot of times you're like, oh, that wasn't their song. And then you look and the person who actually wrote it and even recorded it had done so just months prior or 6 months prior and tried to put it out as a hit. Can you imagine now if like AC/DC put out a song and didn't go anywhere, and then 2 months later, I don't know, Motley Crue was singing it and they made a hit out of it? That's just weird timing wise, but I guess it's because it was harder to reach the masses with your song, and if it didn't go anywhere very fast, they just let other people pick it up. Maybe that was why. Anyway, that's your song of the day. We're trying to keep it under 5 minutes for upload purposes. It is Thurston Harris, Little Bitty Pretty One. I love this music and I love this song. This is a great song. Turn it up. I mean, how can you not have a good time when you're listening to this music? So there you go. That's your Tasty Tunage Tuesday. Have a good one, and as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.